Brent. I'm out dodging the rainstorm. There's more rain coming. Yay. We actually need it really bad. I hope we get some. I went to answer a question I got on my website the other day, which is awesome. Thank you so much for checking out my website. I love it. I actually put my heart and soul into it. I love it so much. And it's exciting when people actually come over and leave comments and feedback. So the question was about a phlox. I'm assuming like this phlox I have behind me. Let's turn this around. This is one of my taller phlox. I actually just added a couple of shorter varieties to my garden, which I'll share at a later time, but I just love phlox. And the question was, apparently all their phlox flowers fell off, which can happen. Mine's just starting to do that. And the really cool thing about phlox, especially this variety, the tall variety, and there's a medium variety, is that the blooms, actually, when they do start to die back and fall off, I recommend cutting it back, probably back to about, like, I would cut it about here. I usually cut about here. And what's going to happen is the phlox, actually this phlox, will actually continue to grow all the way through until a hard frost later in autumn. And actually, I don't know if you caught any of my videos before, I actually take this phlox and I've cut it and used it in arrangements, specifically with some really pretty roses that I'm growing. And it's really just a great plant and I love it. Look how gorgeous it is. Let me back up. Way up. It just stands out so pretty, doesn't it? Now, there's another type of phlox, which I've got one right down in here, and that's a creeping phlox. Now, when the blooms fall off of that, it looks a little funny. In fact, my bigger varieties, or my larger plants, this one I just planted. It was a bare root. I planted it about a month ago and it popped these great blooms. I wasn't expecting it to do. This will actually put on at least double before the end of the season. So I'm hoping by next spring it should be close to the sidewalk, and eventually the few that I have down here will cover this whole area of mulch because that's what I wanted to do anyhow. Now this creeping phlox is very different. This one, once it's done blooming in spring, it's done for the year, and then you just get to enjoy this pretty green. Here's my older creeping phlox that I have in the landscape. This actually was all the way out about a foot onto the concrete, and after it was done blooming, which it already did this year, I went ahead and cut it back, and it looks like it's doing it again. So I just need to cut it back just because I don't want it on the concrete. And I'm not quite sure why that one popped a bloom. That usually doesn't happen once it's bloomed once in the year, but that's what that does. And that's a creeping phlox, which is totally different than that phlox, the taller phlox. So there you have it. I hope I answered your question, and I hope this was the right phlox. So there it is right there. That's my tall phlox, which I highly recommend. In fact, I'm adding many more to my garden. I've got a few pinks and purples, and I'll be showing those on my website as soon as I have time. I got to get caught up with all the weeding I still have to do. And of course, I love answering your questions. So keep them coming. Come on over to my website for more creative living ideas and also to ask questions. I'm so excited to share my garden and my experience with you today. And that's at brenthaas.com. Hope to see you there. Here comes that rain.